Hey, everybody. Man, it is so great to visit with you guys. First of all, thank you so much to those of you that have extended an invitation or extended your interest in investing in this deal. We have a really large commitment list. I think Jonathan Richter, our investor relations manager, said we are at 28 million, John, or what is it now? 28 million plus. So there is a significant amount of interest and activity in this deal. Just like it was for me. When we were getting this deal, there was a tremendous amount of people trying to buy it from us. And I'll get into the story on that a little bit later. But thank you so much for continuing to allow us to present these investment opportunities to you. Today, we're going to be talking about our pursuit of Ascend at Lakeview, a beautiful 298 unit, Class A, brand new, off of the assembly line apartment complex that was literally started or leased up in November, Ezra. And it's located in Fort Bend County in Richmond. With me today, I'm going to introduce who I have today. So, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, but I promise you the IQ in the room is astronomical. This is not the old Rockstar. This is a Rockstar built for growth and for scale. And with that, I need the very best team because the best team wins. Two people on that team are the two people here with me. They are part of my asset team. My third guy, Dub, a little camera shy. He's our transaction manager. He's not here today. But today I have Ezra Carpenter and I have Linda Pham. A little bit about Ezra. Double major for University of Kansas, economics, finance. He's known as the professor in the office here. So if you've ever seen the movie Moneyball, he's that little kid in the back that kind of has all the stats. That's him. Side story, have you ever heard of George Brett? He may be George Brett's son. We are still looking for DNA evidence to confirm that, but there is a connection. We're trying to get more information on it. Ezra, how are you, man?
I'm good, Robert.
Are you good? Good? So Ezra, this is like your third or fourth one of these now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm an old hat these days, yeah.
Yeah, so, but you love this deal, huh?
Absolutely. This is, to be completely honest, this is probably my favorite deal I've underwritten in the 15 months I've been at Rockstar, and I've underwritten probably close to 100 deals now. This is the one, man. This is it.
When the Moneyball guy says this is the one, I get really juicy and excited. It gets me excited. It makes me want to put a lot of money into these deals. But of course, we have the other side of the duo, right? You have the 1-2 punch here. You have Linda Pham. Linda went to UT Austin. You're from Houston, right, Linda?
Correct.
Say Linda's from Houston, went to UT Austin with a degree in finance, minor in accounting, but she has an MBA with a specialization in finance.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Linda, because this is your first time on Rockstar TV.
Oh, yeah. So I've been in the industry going on 6 years in multifamily. I moved up from analyst to an asset manager. So that's all I know is multifamily.
Right. And so the last company you worked with, how many units were you overseeing as the asset manager?
Yep. So I was managing over 6,000 units.
6,000 units. So you see, we try to recruit people on where we're trying to go. And tell me a little bit of difference here at Rockstar versus where you're at before. Like, how is your position, your everyday responsibility changed?
Yep. So I've been a lot more involved in our transactions, wearing a little bit more hats. So I'm more involved in all of the processes around here, and it's been a great journey and learning experience.
Awesome. So she's a little camera shy as well, but she makes the camera look good. So we want to give her a chance to get some FaceTime with us, right? So that you can kind of hear where the analysis, because that's all this is. This is analysis, projections, trying to understand where the deals are from. And as Ezra, you said a minute ago, you love this deal, right?
I do.
mean, you've been on TV now with me a few times.
Yeah.
Trying to. So Ezra, again, I forgot. I don't want to shortchange him. Is our revenue manager initially. That's how he got started. Now he's moved into the underwriting role. He's worked with Linda in the asset management. So every day you were on the phone with the managers pushing rents.
That's right.
What's the opportunity with rents here?
Yeah, so this one, there's a lot of opportunity here to push rents. Specifically, when you look at where their current rents are compared to just where their recent leases are. So over the last 90 days, they're seeing double-digit rent growth on those units. And then on top of that, this is one of the hottest markets, one of the hottest submarkets within Houston. So not only are we going to see rent growth just from turning over the rent roll, but also this submarket is going to provide great rent growth as well.
Absolutely. I get really excited. Okay, so now I've got to tell you a little bit about myself. I apologize. I do enjoy talking about myself a little bit, but I enjoy talking about this deal even more. So I'm just going to kind of run through my highlights. Again, thank you for joining me. We've got, 600-700 investors that have actively been with me for many of you since the beginning, back when I got started with Rockstar in 2010 in our first deal, Water Chase, and then later North Lake Manor, our first official deal on Rockstar. So in that time, I've learned a thing or two. I've been a part of over 30 acquisitions. I've been a part of 13 cash out refinance events. I'm a 2-time National Owner of the Year. I'm a 2-time Houston Independent Owner of the Year, and I'm the reigning Texas Independent Owner of the Year. And again, you see why. I've got tremendous cerebral brain power over here on this side, so it makes me look good. But with that, we have a very cohesive team, and we share data. We talk out loud. People kind of get upset because I share what's in my head. It's very important for their development so that they understand the method to the madness. What is it that we're trying to do, right? But for so long, it was just a smaller group, and now being able to expand this, you can see the increase in capability here. So I want to thank everybody here. And again, some of our recognitions, we are a consistent company. We've been around for a long time. We've been recognized by the Houston Business Journal as one of those consistent companies. For 4 years in a row, we were on the Houston Business Journal Fast 100. This year, when we submit our nomination again, it'll be number 5. Very smart about that. And I'm all about keeping heads in beds. I am an operator. I don't worry about right now. I worry about over the next 10 years. And I know as a former sales guy that you have to take care of your customers. In this case, our customers are our residents. And in order to take care of them, you have to hear what they have to say. If you don't communicate with them, if they don't have a channel to communicate with you, how can you solve life's issues? I mean, that's what I'm doing right here. I'm trying to communicate with you the urgency on why you need to get into this deal. But at the same time, we use that same thought process to communicate with our residents. So for 5 years in a row, we've been one of the best in the country at communicating with our residents. We have had at least one property make the J. Turner Research top 1% of communities where the residents are most satisfied. There are 150,000 communities in the United States and growing. And every year for the last 5 years, we've had at least one property make the top 1% list. We actually would have had 3 or 4 properties this year, but because we sold some deals, they technically aren't ours anymore, but they were on that list. So, I feel bad for those guys. I miss those properties, but you know what? It's time to groom the rest of them. And as I said, we've earned 19 city-state National Apartment Association awards. It takes a village to oversee your equity. Our focus is you guys. We have no third-party companies. You all hear it. You all know this. There is no construction company. There is no paint company or service company. We have one focus, and that's the 22 communities that we oversee, which means the $140 million plus that we've raised from you, that you've entrusted with us, your hard-earned dollar. That's all we focus on, is how do we keep heads in beds, because that's the best way to increase your NOI. How do we maximize your shareholder value? And that's where we're at Rockstar Capital. Again, look, we've got some ribbons, we're pretty good at this. We wouldn't be on camera right now asking you to work with us on this $70 million purchase if we didn't have the ability to do that. Here's our Hall of Fame. These are our 14 properties that have cast out refinance events. Some of these have been sold. Some of them will be selling this year, and that's a shame, but that's part of it. I don't fall in love with the real estate. I fall in love with what the real estate provides. That's what's important. The real estate provides is security blankets. So each one of these deals is a security blanket. Each one of the deals that we're prepping to the next round to become a refinance event is a security blanket against life's issues. I don't worry about the everyday stuff of going to work economics. All I worry about, if I keep my residents in their apartments, they're going to keep paying rent, and they're going to provide me a security blanket. It's like having 22 different people in like a marriage, right, where they're all contributing back into that system at home. And I'm very fortunate, and I'm very happy for you guys, because many of you have been with me from the beginning. Many of you were not millionaires before you got invested with us, and now you're multimillionaires, including my mom, who I'll share with you a story on that. Who my mom was not a millionaire when she invested with us on the deal, and now she's a millionaire on paper and soon to be in her bank account. So we've raised $136 million. This does not include the money, the $19 million that we raised for Aspire. So this is just money at work. We have lifetime returns of $112 million. Thought it was a little bit higher. $112 million. Last year, we returned $50 million back to our investors. And right now, once we close Aspire at 610, which is what, next week, Linda?
Yep.
Next week, that money was raised in 2 weeks. Jonathan Richter and his team were able to convey our message. We did a great presentation. You guys understood. That's closing in about a week. And we're going to be up to $600 million in asset value, because there is an urgency that we have. It is to put the money to work. Things are going on in the world right now, and we're going to have a slide on that in just a minute. And as I said, it takes a village. There's 130 people that are Rockstar Capital. You have our operations side of the business, and you have the other side of the business, the asset management side, the investor relations. On the property management company, I've got the best. I got the best guy in the whole country, Dr. Bill Nye. He hates being called a doctor, but he really is. He's a doctor. He's got a PhD in this stuff. You know, he is He's nationally known. He might like to be world known. He might like to be world known, but he is definitely nationally known. He's a recognized speaker. The National Apartment Association charges him with training apartment managers. He has been the sole trainer for the Houston Apartment Manager Certified Training Program for as long as I remember. In fact, when I first got in the industry in 07 and 08, he trained me. He taught my initial class. So it's really amazing that how life happens, and he's available, and he needs to come to Texas, and there's a situation where, Bill Nye is on our team. Are you kidding me? It has been such a breath of fresh air. It's a whole nother world of Rockstar Capital on the processes and the systems, and more importantly, maybe the KPIs, the key performance indicators that he has instituted in our company, because it's all math. It really is, right? I mean, Ezra, you're a math guy. It's Moneyball. It's if you have this and you have that, you're gonna get this, and that's what Bill Nye is. You've got to have this many tours to get this many leases. End of story. And to get this many tours, you got to have this number of leads. And I don't have Caleb on here. Who's on here? He's my marketing guru here, where he's there to generate leads, qualified leads. Then we train our team to make sure that they convert those leads into tours, and then that they finish those tours into actual leases. Ezra, what is our occupancy for as a portfolio?
I think we're just over 94%.
94%. And as revenue manager, because you know you have demand coming in, you've been able to push rents. How much did we push rents last year as a portfolio?
Yeah, we pushed our portfolio rent growth across the board was close to 10%, and that includes all submarkets, all asset classes, everything. So we were able to push those rents because, like Robert mentioned, I'm constantly looking at the rents for every unit at every property, finding where we can push rents, even if it's by, $5 or $10, and that $5 or $10 really adds up.
Absolutely. And again, I'm at this office almost every single day. And when I'm here, I'm talking to these guys. We're having a convo every day about something related to the communities, to the portfolio. And often we call Bill Nye in, and Bill Nye, hey, Bill, were you aware of this? Bill, were you aware of that? Bill, you didn't go. Caleb went. Caleb and Bill went down to Kingsville to go onboard our new team and, communicate those KPIs, communicate the expectations of what it is to work at Rockstar Capital. And so that was very, very exciting. So let's get into the meat and the fun stuff here, okay? Last year, if you were a Rockstar Capital investor, was a banner year. We actually converted business plans. And a business plan is when Ezra and Linda and Dub and we all come up with a plan. Like, we're going to do this to get this. But then you got to wait. You got to plant that seed. You got to water it. You got to maintain it. You got to train the teams. You got to make sure that you keep as many heads and beds as you can. And then at the end of the day, you don't know how much real estate you make. It's not you make your money when they move in or you make your money on the day you close. That's not true. You make your money throughout the operation, throughout your ownership period. Then you find out what you really make on the day that you sell. And we made a fortune on these deals. We sold 5 different deals. And again, it hurt to sell these because these are my babies. But I recognize that I got debt equity. I got your debt equity sitting in that deal. Just like you might have equity in your home, right, that's sitting there and not making any money, that they could be making you money if you invested here, just like I did. We had debt equity in these apartments. It was time to turn them. It wasn't worth doing a refinance event. It wasn't worth investing into the deal. Rents at these particular areas, NOI, we found their metrics that Linda and Ezra, put there. And if it looks like there's a sell signal, it's time to sell. So it was time to harvest what we planted many years ago. We sold 5 different deals. We refinanced one of them, and that turned into $50 million back to your pocket. That's why I think we have so much investor sentiment right now, so much interest. As I said, we have $28 million that are seeking to put their money to work, to secure their money, to have a place to nest that money and do this again. We just showed that we've had 5 dispositions on top of the 2 that we've had in previous years. And guess what? We're going to do it again this year. I expect this year that we're going to exceed the $50 million mark. Would you agree, Linda?
Think so.
I think so too. I think Linda's, she's the quiet one. She watches the pocketbook, and so she knows what's going on, and she's going to correct me if I'm wrong. I'll get her like a little nudge or something. But we also had a big refinance event on Cedar Ridge. But most importantly, we returned $50 million and put it back in your pocket. And, you know, here are two of those examples. We refinanced. When there's a deal that we like in a good area and we want to keep it a little bit longer term, we will have it reanalyzed, reappraised by the bank. They'll say, hey, you've done a great job. You've increased it X amount of dollars. We want to give you a new loan, pays off your old loan, and that difference is tax-free in your pocket. We did really well on this deal, didn't we? We did 118%.
We did all right.
Return on this deal. And in fact, we were when we got to this deal, we were at a certain point in 2016 when we bought the deal. Interest had come down so much that even when we borrowed more money, which, hey, debt is good. If I could own $1 billion in real estate, like a liability, like I want to own Wells Fargo. I want to owe Wells Fargo $1 billion. That's like a goal because that's security for me because you're investing in income-producing assets. This debt actually went down. The debt service went down, Linda.
Yep. Yeah.
And so in this case, it's crazy, right? The math on how that works, how you can borrow more money, but your debt service actually goes down. And so on this one, I think we were down by $7,400. So we were paid to borrow more money. And then we put that money back in your pocket, which was a lot, right? I mean, how much was the original equity on that? 6 point something, right? 6 point something million?
Yeah.
It was a big number. It's okay. Don't worry. It's a 6 point something million. And we put it back into your pocket. And you guys redeployed it into the Kingsville portfolio, into Huntington Oaks that we closed at the end of last year. Some of y'all put into Aspire. You know, it was awesome. And then, of course, one of our best success stories, you know, there's a Hall of Fame. Norlake Manor will be in that Hall of Fame. I mean, fantastic deal that we paid $15,000 a door for in 2011, and I think we sold it for north of $120 a door, something ridiculous like that. You know, so kudos to all you guys that believed in me back in the day when I didn't have any of these guys, when I didn't even have a company office, when I didn't have any of that. You just believed in me because I had a vision. I showed you some heart, and somewhere along the way, we found a commonality that you believe that you could entrust your money with us. It's crazy to look at that deal. I don't want to get emotional because it's such an important deal to us. It started Rockstar Capital. This, along with Water Chase, started Rockstar Capital. And all you guys are in those deals. Luis Becerra, Rick and Rosa Martinez, you know, all you people that were in those deals, Susan Harvin, Mike Freeman. I mean, there's so many people, you know, that were in Water Chase and North Lake, and y'all didn't have to invest in me. Y'all had options. I was just the new guy on the block, and, you know, thank you for continuing to invest in me back then because it allowed us to be where we're at today. We're so much better today. We're so much smarter. We've gained so much experience, and which is why we're presenting different kinds of deals to you. This was a deal that, you know, was foreclosed twice in the previous 10 years, full of Section 8, full of criminals. It was very, very dirty. And sure, we made a lot of money on that deal, but man, wouldn't it be great to make money a little bit easier? Wouldn't it be great to make money a little bit safer? Because these kind of deals, these are great. This Norlake Manor is a fantastic deal, but I guarantee you, they feel what's going on with inflation, the price pump groceries, a lot more than the Class A demographic that we're starting to choose for. So this is a really good area here. Why are we aggressively buying deals? Rents are exploding in this country. There is so much demand. There is not enough housing. There is investors buying houses and just immediately new houses and turning them into rentals right away. You have home pricing. You bought a home last year, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to share what you pay. You're welcome to or not, but it increased significantly in value.
It's gone up 25% in value over the last less than a year.
That's nuts. So that's great for Ezra from equity standpoint, but it's not very good for the guy looking to buy a home right now because he's having to, what did you bet on, 20%, 25%?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money. And so it just went up another 25%. So now they got to come up with another bit of down payment. That's making it harder and harder for them to afford new homes because there's so many investors realizing, wow, housing survived COVID, right? What survived COVID? Zoom, Amazon, and Netflix. And for all those to work, you got to have 4 walls and a roof. The apartment industry was one of the essential providers. We were chosen to survive. Why? Because we have the masses. They had to take care of us. Yeah, there was delinquency issues, and they were mostly in our workforce housing. Remember that? Remember how we had to do landlord liens to do all those things? Well, those are tricks that we learned from the Great Recession when I first got started to get the attention of somebody. And you got to take what they need every day, that coffee pot, that TV, that PlayStation. Well, nothing changes. We're creatures of habit. We want to come home and watch TV. But if you live in a Rockstar community and you owe me $4,000, I have the right to take that brand new Samsung TV that you bought with your rent money because I see the box outside. and I see the brand new BMW outside. Linda, were you shocked that people were paying you $4,000 to catch up on rent for a $1,000 TV?
No, I mean, no. I mean, people want their electronics.
Because they had the money, though.
Yeah.
Right. How was that different in the Class A market?
I mean, you're not seeing that heavy kind of people not paying their rent, and so we're
Because
not,
they're more responsible?
Yeah.
Because they care about their credit? Because we had a message very clear. You don't have to pay us, but if you don't pay us, the next place you live will not be as nice as this one. Because we will file an eviction, and you'll be living next at one of those communities where they accept evictions. And if you're in property management, you understand what that means. There's a lot of bad stuff at the properties that accept evictions. Standards are not what you thought they were before, so you better off protect your credit, protect your style, your living standard, and pay us the rent. So, but we saw in our Class A market, there was almost no delinquency, as Linda was alluding to. I mean, less than 1%. So that's a big reason why we're trying to shift over to Class A. Why else? Your purchasing power has decreased. In the last 24 months, they have printed 40% into the money supply. 40 cents of every dollar in your pocket did not exist. We knew inflation was coming because you cannot print your way like that. You cannot tax the middle class the way you have, and you cannot print your way to prosperity. It's what happened in Mexico. I'm well versed in the history of Mexico. They had a middle class at one time. They destroyed the middle class with some of the same things that are occurring today. So in Mexico, you have very, very poor, or you have uber wealthy. There is no middle class. So what do the uber wealthy own? They own real estate. They own a lot of things that they were able to purchase to offset inflation. I think I checked today. I don't know if you saw the latest. I actually took a picture, but I'm going to put it on my social. 7.9% inflation. What the hell happened? It wasn't like that 2 years ago, but what's happened in the last years, we have had a change in government policy. We have had a change in administration. I can't determine who's president. I know who I wanted to win, but I need to win in all presidencies. I need to win in all administrations. I can guarantee you, and this is truth, the apartment industry has benefited greatly with the current administration. Not that I agree politically, but they made everything that we own more valuable. Everything. You cannot build what we own today. You can't. It's too expensive. So if you own that bricks and sticks, you own that real assets, your net worth has gone up. Because you got to get your wealth out of that fiat currency and put it into something that's hard and real. Some people will buy gold, but gold doesn't produce income. Gold doesn't appreciate the way your equity will in an apartment complex, and certainly doesn't provide for you the tax advantages of tax depreciation. So we want you to consider putting your wealth into apartment complexes for these reasons here. The stock market, oh my gosh. You're lying if you know what's going to happen in the stock market from day to day or week to week. It's not true. Last year, the market was up anywhere from 17 to 25%, depending on which index you were in. This year, you're down already 7%. And if you annualize that for the year, it's at 41%. You would take a bath if what's going to continue to happen in the stock market continues. And what's happening? The market doesn't like instability. And if you're watching the news, it's all Russia, Russia, Russia. Just like it's an episode of an old Brady Bunch, show where it's Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. It's constantly in your face. It's distraction. It's taking you away from what you should be doing with your family, and that's creating generational wealth. Creating an opportunity where you put $250,000 into something, into a piece of real estate, and you let it sit with a good operator, with a good team, and you let them grow that, and you turn it into a Lake Manor where you get a 9x return on your money. I got an investor, Luis Becerra. Love this guy. He invested with us back right at the end of the recession, $100,000. Because he picked, and he had the courage to invest in it back in those early days, Water Chase, Newer Lake Manor, Falls and Maple. Each of those deals refinanced 2 times with that original $100,000. Today, that $100,000 is worth $1.9 million, and I think he owns 14 different apartment communities based on that $100,000. That's what we're trying to do for you. We're trying to put your money to work. Let us take care of increasing the NOI, pushing the rents, keeping heads in beds, And then at the end, selling the deal like we did last year, selling those 5 deals that we sold, they created $50 million. And frankly, let's move on to something that's very sensitive to all of us. Is COVID over? I don't know. Is it? Because the media's not splashing in your face anymore. We literally went from COVID, frenzy, COVID panic, to war in Russia and Ukraine. No wonder why the market's freaking out. It doesn't understand how that works. We're down 800 one day, we're up 600 the next. This is very similar to what happened during the Great Recession, if y'all were around. It was instability. We're at war. We really are. We're in economic war against Russia. Something that's happening on the other side of the world has nothing to do with what we're doing here every day, which is what I try to tell my poor mom. She's like, Mijo, what does all this mean with Russia? Mom, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Focus on generating income. Focus on taking care of your family, because it's what's going to happen is going to happen. I can't control that, but I can control what's in front of me. And that's making sure that our income is in the right vehicles to take care of us long term. And that's where I bring up multifamily. Why multifamily is different than the stock market is that it's stable. Even during COVID, we were stable. The government, did some stupid stuff with the eviction moratorium, whatever, but then they immediately gave us all kinds of programs. Remember the PPP loan? To make sure that we let none of our teams go. Then they came back and they promised rent assistance, which we took full advantage of. I mean, do you know how many millions of dollars we got from that?
I mean, Ezra, he was overseeing that program, and we got millions from
Yeah, we did.
So did we really hurt during COVID?
No.
No, we didn't. We actually thrived. We actually saw rent growth during COVID because nobody was leaving. When people can't leave their apartment, they have to renew, and they renewed at a higher rent. And even those the bottom of the barrel that didn't want to pay because the government was there and they thought it was going to last like that forever, they eventually paid because they didn't want to ruin their credit, so they had to apply for the assistance. We got our money. Was it a little delayed? Sure it was, but it created demand. It created high rental growth. We saw our portfolio increase in value last year. That's why we sold 5 deals last year. People wanted our deals. They were throwing ridiculous money. So multifamily brings stability. The word is out on multifamily. It survived COVID. The government is not going to let the people die. Don't let small business die. Don't let the pizza guy, mom and pop pizza owner on the corner die. But they won't let multifamily die because we have the population. They got to have 4 walls and a roof to live. And we're very excited that we made that decision years and years ago because I didn't lose $1 in the stock market. I used to be part of Lifestyles back in the day, and I remember Dale said, get out of the stock market. I have not lost a penny in almost 20 years because I got out of the market before the recession, put my money in multifamily. I've been putting my head down and going to work ever since. So thank you to Dale back in the day. So that leads us to what we're looking at today. Tyler, Ascend at Lakeview. This thing's beautiful. This is something else. There are so many reasons. I hope I remember them all on why we should be buying this deal. But the biggest reason of all is that it is a money maker. That means it is a wealth generator. We talk about generational wealth. Generational wealth is money you can leave behind to your family that they can start outright. This is one of those opportunities. My mom started investing with me back in 2015. My dad was still with us, and I told them I'm going to make you a millionaire on this deal. This is Green Meadows, and we've got a funny loan in it, but we're finally able to get out of that loan this year, which I've not told the parties yet. So if you're watching your Green Meadows, I got a little surprise for you later. My mom's in that deal, and I told her I'm going to make you a millionaire. And every year she's like, "Am I a millionaire yet? Am I a millionaire yet?" And I was like, "Mom, you are. You're a millionaire on paper, but I got to get out of the deal. I got to get out. Well, it's not in my bank account. It doesn't count." She put $400,000 into that deal. It's 4x'd, I think you said on the last valuation. So her $400,000 is worth $1.6 million today. And later this year, probably in the next 90 days, or 120 at the very outside, we're going to refinance that deal because it's in Katy. We don't want to sell that deal, right? We want to. That's one of the money makers that the rents keep going up. So we're not ready to sell that, but we're going to pull a bunch of equity out to where I think my mom's going to wind up with $1 million plus of her $400,000. So which means she got 2 times the return, and she's going to have $1 million. And she's so excited. So what are we going to do now? I go, Mom, you need to keep couple $100,000 in there for reserves. Take care of yourself. Make sure nothing happens. Put the money right back to work. And put into this deal. Put into the next deal. And let me do it again for you. Because you got to keep your wealth. There is no such thing as keeping your money in the bank. you're getting paid point zero nothing in the bank to leave it there. You're losing 40% purchasing power the last 24 months. You've got inflation nipping at your heels at 7.9%. Everybody's feeling it, but not everybody feels it the same way. When I go to the gas tank, I don't think about paying an extra 10, 15 bucks when I fill up. I don't. I buy that in coffee most days. So there's a lot of over-centralization of what's going on with this, but the workforce housing that we have, they feel a little bit more because they're not getting that two Starbucks a day or whatever, or buying Starbucks for everybody else. They're feeling it, which is why we're beginning to transition out of that workforce housing, because I see what's happening. Mexico's happening. I'm not going to get caught with your money in a situation where the middle class gets shrunk or gets destroyed away with taxes. My job is to grow your income, your wealth. My job is to take your $250,000 and turn it to $1 million. And that's what this deal is about. It's about how do we create generational wealth for you like I was able to create for my mom. One of the big secrets in multifamily is the most important number is the number of doors. 300 units at this property. With 300 units of Class A rent, that gives us tremendous flexibility to hire the best staff, to spend the best marketing budget, and as I think you might realize, we know a thing or two about marketing and social media, to stay ahead of the curve. The deals that I had the least success on were the deals that were too small. They didn't give me that income opportunity. I couldn't hire the very best team. I couldn't have the very best, budget, because a $500 Facebook ad costs the same on a 100-unit property as it does on a 300-unit property. So how many more of those $500 ads can you do on a 300-unit property? A lot more, which means more visibility, more exposure, because we all know now that if you don't live on that phone, you don't exist today. Thankfully, we learned that lesson 5 years ago after visiting Gary Vee and later on Grant Cardone. But it's very important. Income is everything. You cannot save your way to prosperity. You got to have income, which is why we're trying to get you to buy more deals with us so you generate more income. This is a 2021 construction, which is exciting. It's like imagine getting a brand new Ferrari off of the assembly line, and she's got like 500 miles. They started the lease up when, Ezra, in November?
November, yes.
November now. And where are they at right now?
I think they're just over 50%, or right around the 50% mark of that lease up. So they're still, we have we still have half the property's brand new units that nobody's lived in. That's going to lead to a lot of demand.
Absolutely. So what happens is in the situation where there's a lease up, you've been part of a lease up, I'm sure, Linda. What happens is their job is to flip this deal. I'm going to give them the slide, but we're buying it directly from the developer. They want to get paid, but they cannot get paid until they sell the deal. So they're not really trying to optimize it, are they, Linda?
No.
What kind of things are if we buy when we buy this deal, are we going to experience there?
I think organic rent growth will occur with this deal naturally, but there's upside where we could increase amenity fees, add amenities. I believe they don't even have anything like fetch, where you can add some kind of parcel packaging. There's just so many other ancillary income that we could add to this deal to make.
What's the
more
number
money.
one way that they use to lease an apartment up?
Amenities.
No, not amenities. What's the rent related? How do they get your attention with concessions?
Sure.
Yeah, with concessions. So what happens when there's a brand new property and they lease it up with concessions? What does that mean?
There's tons of concessions up front. They're doing 4 to 8 week specials, and we can get rid of that and see growth naturally, organically.
So what you're saying is that when that contract is over in 12 months and they started leasing in November, right? That when it comes time to renewal, they're not going to pay that discount, because most people, when they do, they don't really take the 2 months free. They prorate the rent down, right? Mm-hmm. So in this case, I think average rent's $1,500. So let's say they got 2 months, they got $3,000. They're taking $3,000 divided by 12, which is roughly $250 off. And so rents are going to grow by $250 when they renew. That's where the opportunity is, and you'll see that right here. Year one pro forma unstabilized Ezra is $2.5 million. How are we getting to year two? This is exciting because that's a lot of money. I did the calculation. That's $612,000 of new NOI on a 4 cap. Right, because these are Class A rents. These are Class A properties. A 4 cap creates $15 million. How is that going to happen?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is like Linda just mentioned, concession burn off, and then just increasing that occupancy, going from 50% occupancy, pushing it up to a stabilized number in the mid 90s, and then while we grow rents and get rid of the concessions is how we're gonna really increase that NOI.
So this is different than the workforce housing where we go and we add value add opportunities. We change out the air conditions. We update the appliances. This is brand new. We're going to take over the rest of the lease up, and we're going to eliminate all these concessions. We don't have a single concession in our portfolio right now, do we, Ezra?
No, we don't.
So there's no need to be doing that, but they're motivated differently. They want to get this deal sold as soon as they can, so they're willing to discount it so people can get in there, so someone like me can come in and buy the deal. Well, in our workforce housing, we don't do that. We take over as it is. It's already full at 90-something%, and we try to increase rents, but we have to increase rents by making improvements to get the NOI we want. Here, to get the NOI where we want, we just have to finish up the lease up, right? And then we have to remove those concessions when the renewal comes. But what we really love about this deal is where it's located. It is in Richmond, Texas. That is a fantastic part of not just the city, but the state to be. If you're looking at my slides here, this is the 8th fastest growing county in the United States the last 20 years, excuse me. People are migrating here. It's only continuing with the COVID hangover, where people from California and the East Coast are migrating to the red states. The population in this area has tripled in the last 20 years, and there's been monster rent growth in this area. In fact, Ezra, there were 2 major submarkets that have really benefited the last year in Houston. Well, what were they?
Yeah, one of them was the Med Center, and then the other one is the Cinco Ranch, Fort Bend County area. And so those are the 2 submarkets that we've targeted with our last 2 acquisitions, with Aspire and then Ascend here. And so yeah, this submarket, this area, just looking at the property, it's right off of West Park Tollway. Great visibility off the tollway, and then just looking that area is brand new. There's a brand new retail strip mall, anchored by an HEB just less than a mile north of the property, and that whole area is really starting to develop.
And what's interesting too is that, remember, think about it. Why the medical center? Medical center because there was that big medical project, which is why we love Aspire 610, which is why Valencia Place, the deal that we bought last August, is doing so well. And we're continuing to look at deals there because that project's going to create tremendous amount of jobs long term, and people are going to want to be in that area. But in this area, it's beautiful. It's countryside, and it's not as expensive as living in town. A $2 million home, which is what somebody in California is getting out of, buys you so much more in Fort Bend County than it does in the Galleria or River Oaks. You're going to get land. You're going to get other areas. So you're bringing tremendous amount of people, population growth. People want to be there. And so that's why the median income here is $100,000.
And this one really gives us the best of both worlds.
Tell me.
Because of that location, like I mentioned, because it's right off of West Park Tollway, it's an easy commute into the Med Center for those people that do work in the Med Center, and right there, so they can live kind of out in the suburbs, like that as Cinco Ranch kind of transitions south, so that they can live there, and it's easy access to almost an extreme amount of the entire city of Houston, lots of potential employers.
I mean, absolutely. This is the richest county in Texas. I was shocked. I did not know that when we were doing our markets research, because we do research on this stuff where we invest, right? But it should not surprise me because it's owned by a home builder. It's owned by D.R. Horton Homes. And if you all know anything about D.R. Horton, they have massive marketing and research study teams. All they do is figure out where the population is going to be, and they will build a master plan community. They're now got into multifamily, and now they have a multifamily division. They're doing the same thing. They build the community, and then they built the rental housing next to it. And what do you know? There's a Walgreens and a CVS down the road. What do you know? There's an HEB down the road, and there's other fast food and all that. It's right by, that means the walkability score is really high because of how close everything is. So we talk about location, it's right off the West Park Tollway. You get off on that exit, you take a turnaround, and it's there. You want to get back on the tollway, you leave the property, you take the next exit up. I mean, it's really ideal. And what I love about this is that we are only charging $1,500 rents. At 3 times we have 3 times rental requirements, which means you got to make at least $4,500 to live here. That's roughly $60,000 a year. That's not anything in this submarket. The average household income is $100,000. We have room to go. This is a long-term, wonderful play. There's a tremendous amount of schools in the area. The amenities, I wish Bill was here. Bill and I, our director of operations, who loved this. We were walking around, and he's like, he looked at me, can we get this one? I was like, yeah, we can get this one. It's going to be hard, but we can get this one. And everybody wants it. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity here. And then it's in Fort Bend County. It's not in Harris County. The tax man is all over Harris County, so you better have rent growth, to stay in front of Harris County tax appraisal office. But Fort Bend County, we have Westwood Village in Rosenberg. We have Brookmore Hollow, also in Rosenberg. They've done very well with the tax man. We believe we would do very well under the tax man here. So again, what we like about the deal, we're buying it from the builder. As I said before, the builder is motivated to flip this deal. They're not motivated to optimize rents, to charge more for a pool view, to charge for carport parking or reserve parking or any kind of amenities. They're just there to hurry up, put a nice product, fill it up so somebody feels confident, and get out of the way. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to come in and we're going to optimize, just like we would on our value add deals. We're going to increase performance through management. We're going to optimize the deal, and we're going to increase the NOI. So there's a lot of meat on the bone. And new construction. Tell me about what about expensive with new construction?
I mean, low operating expense ratios.
Why? Why is that?
Because we're not having to spend a lot of money to turn the units, and so it ends up saving us and increase our NOI.
Right, just like with a car. If you buy a 15-year-old car, right, you're going to have maintenance expenses. You're going to have issues with that car because it may be the original engine, maybe the original this, the original that. Here's brand new. If you're buying a brand new car, you probably don't have to take it into the shop to get serviced very often, other than the normal maintenance. That's what we're doing. We're buying a brand new car straight off of the assembly line with literally 500 miles on there. And Bill Nye, who, again, like Linda, came from a larger group, has done 21 lease-up events. So he knows exactly what needs to, how to finish out the lease-up, and then how to go to the next phase, which is stabilization, which is where we talked about where Ezra's going to come in and find $600,000 of NOI for us. So it's really excited about this deal, right? Because everybody saw what I wanted. There were 20 tours on this deal. There were, of those 20 tours, there were 16 offers. And we had to claw and fight our way to the best and final. Then we had to claw and fight our way to the final buyer interview. And it was me versus 3 other guys. And I had to explain to them why they should sell to me. My story was the most compelling, and I was able to do something that nobody else had done to make it enticing for the seller. And he's like, wow, I've never seen that. Well, and so you're probably asking, well, what did you do? He goes, I basically sent 2% hard earnest money to the title company before my buyer call. And I did that, which is what, $1.4 million out of my pocket, right? Because if something happens, that comes out of my pocket, not anybody else's. I was that committed on the deal. I wanted this deal. And I put my money where my mouth is, and I was the only guy to say, hey, I'm ready to go. Here's the reference number to the title company. It's yours. Let's get forward now. Let's get in the contract. And we actually did. We got it in contract super fast because the other guys that thought he was going to get it had already done business with them before, and we were able to just circumvent that. They did not want to give us the deal. They had it earmarked for somebody else. And through, if there's a will, there's a way. Necessity is the mother of invention. We found a way to get that deal, to get their attention. And most importantly, I now know that there's 16 other guys that want to buy this deal. That's when you know you got the right deal. When there's 16 offers, I'm talking like BlackRock, I'm talking like Pasco, I'm talking these big national players. That's all they do is buy institutional grade deals. And that's what this is. This isn't a workforce housing deal like North Lake Manor. This isn't like, even Green Meadows. These are deals that life insurance companies buy. These are deals that REITs buy. They buy them because they're stable and they have long-term growth. Well, this one, we're talking millionaire status. I told you my mom on her deal back in 2015, I said, Mom, I'm going to make you a millionaire. I'm making you that commitment here too. If you invest $250,000 into this deal, this team, along with the operational team, are going to make you a millionaire because this is the first time in the history of Rockstar that I've projected a 4x multiple on the outside. Now, we've achieved greater than 4x multiples, but I never put that in writing. I'd always tell you 3x. I'm certain on this deal that we're going to get to that number because all the economics are there. The underwriting is there. The lease up, they're leaving so much meat on the bone. We're laughing at it. They are not doing the things that we would normally do because they're not motivated. They have a different business model. Build, sell. And you cannot build this deal for what we're paying for right now because costs have changed. Labor, construction costs, we all know this, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. everything is going. I mean, now with fuel surcharges being even higher to transport all the goods, when there's you're still not happened to the workforce, how where the workforce from COVID it disappeared. You have to charge more to get people at your construction site. You can't build this for what we're doing. I was so confident in this deal. I put 1.4 million out in the wind, and I said, "Here, it's yours. I need this deal. This is the deal for us. This is the deal my mama's going to be a multimillionaire with. This is the deal that I'm going to put 800,000 in, my largest single investment. I put 700,000 in Aspire. I put 800,000 out because I believe cash is going out of style. I do. I believe you are losing your wealth, your purchasing power. My team is investing in these deals with us as well, which is very exciting to me because they understand that too. I want to make sure that I continue what I did the first 10 years of Rockstar, and that's build your wealth. You rely on me for that. I've done a heck of a job. I know I have. I'm so happy that so many of you are now millionaires today. When I realized yesterday that my mom, we were going to do this refinance event, and my mom's going to be a millionaire in her bank account, that made me so excited. You know, it reminds me of the Rick and Rosa Martinez's who were multimillionaires because they invested with us, the Luis Becerras, the Susan Harvins, the Mike Freemans, you know, all these people from those early deals that continue to invest in me deal after deal after deal. I mean, it's life-changing. They've created generational wealth. I want to help you guys do that. This is one of those deals that we're going to be able to do that with. Again, I've never projected, you know, a 4x return. So here are the key numbers. To get there, we're going to hold it 7 to 10 years. You're going to get paid while you wait. 4x multiple. We're going to stabilize the deal. It might take us a little bit of time. The team's very aggressive with our rents, but we're going to be in that 3 to 6% range after stabilization. Then we're going to go and have it reappraised in a, what do you think, 4 years?
Probably.
4 years?
Yep.
4-year cycle. And we're going to see how much money we made. Just like with our workforce housing, we're going to reappraise it. We're going to do a refinance event. I'm going to pull out a bunch of your money, probably 2x worth. So you put $250,000 down, you should expect around $250,000 back in that ballpark. But when the deal is done, you will have somewhere in the range of 4x on your money. This is amazing. I'm actually in a deal right now with one of my old business partners where we're finally selling a little bitty deal that we bought back in 08, you know, where, you know, I put $200,000 down into that deal and I'm going to get a check probably in the next few weeks for $1 million. What am I doing with that money? Putting it right back to work. Because this is the model that created generational wealth for me and my children. And it's the model I believe in. Also, there is some tax depreciation that will have to be recaptured. So the way you beat tax depreciation, right, it's great while you own it, but there is a day to pay the piper. The way you avoid that is that you redeploy back into another deal and get that depreciation started with another deal. So we're very, very excited about this deal. We've got, we've been speaking to the lender already. He came to visit our office a couple days ago, and so he's already ready to go. The operations team starts due diligence when? When do we start walking units?
On the 22nd.
We're going to film all that for you on March 22nd. Tyler and the team will be out there. Jonathan and the investor relations team. We're all going to be out there looking at the deal. We'll send you a follow-up video. But right now, I need you guys to think about this deal. You know, we've got $28 million, and that's great. I think many of you are going to put, but it doesn't count until you put your money with us, until you get your subscription agreement signed, is that we don't reserve that $250,000 mark. We don't reserve that $100,000 mark. You've got to put your money, you got to put your signature in the deal. We'll come asking for the money in about, 4 weeks or so. We're about a month out from closing. And, you can use cash. You can use IRA. I did it in those early days. I cashed out my 401k. I paid the penalty because I didn't worry about it because I was going to get the penalty written off with the first year's depreciation. I mean, it's only, what were we in March? It's only March. You're going to get a full year depreciation to offset whatever penalties you think you're going to have. I paid that 10% penalty, but I didn't really pay it because my depreciation offset it. See, that's the beauty of this stuff. That nobody understands this. There's a reason why they're never going to get rid of the 1031. They can talk, and it's just class warfare. Because they've been saying that for how long? 20 years? All the real estate loopholes? Who do you think put them in? It wasn't retail customer. It wasn't Joe Blow. My mom and dad didn't put those loopholes in because they couldn't have qualified. It took something different for them, a different part of their life, me to learn this at that real estate club 15 years ago to introduce the real estate loophole to my mom, to where now she's able to keep her money and not really have to pay taxes the rest of her life. And that's what's here for you guys as well. So most of you watching this are repeat Rockstar legacy investors, and thank you for your past commitment. I know we're doing well for you, and I want to continue to do well for you. So get your money in. But those of you that are watching for the first time, this is real. This is what we do every single day. I didn't get to raise, we'd be counting Aspire $158 million just because. The majority of that was raised in the first 8 years of my company's business. It's only been the last 2 years where maybe you found me through social media, but that came from friends and family. People saying, hey, let me tell you about this Robert guy. He's done so well for me and my family. So I really want you guys to think about this hard, and I hope if you have questions from this presentation, please send them in. And we'll send up a follow-up email, and we'll get those questions answered. Again, we're going to refinance this in 3 to 5 years. The sliding to be updated. We're past the LOI stage. We are in contract as of Monday. So they have our refinance money. They have our earnest money. $1.4 million of my family's money has gone hard because I want to bring this deal for you guys. Again, my skin in the game is $800,000, and I've already put down $1.4 million. It is a Reg D raise. So again, minimum investment is $100,000, but that's not going to get you to $1 million. This is the kind of deal you want to put $250,000 in, so you can get that millionaire status down the line. I know I'm going to do that for you, like I did for my mom, like I've done for so many of my other investors. You probably say, well, why are you promising this? Because I believe in what we're doing. I'm a big believer that past performance is an indicator of future success. I've been doing this consecutively at Rockstar with my own shop for 11 years, and before that, 3 years at my previous company. What's changed? I've only gotten better team, more IQ in the room, more people on the phone being able to answer your calls or answer your questions. So it's about evolving with the time, and I'm telling you right now, the time is now to get your money out of that fiat currency, out of the bank where it's making 0.0 nothing, and put that $250,000 or that $100,000 minimum into this deal, where you can see the multiple, you can see the creation of wealth. I'm excited about this deal. We're looking to close in the early part of May. Max investment is those guys that want to be at $10 million there. At $10 million, max investment is $4 million. We'll turn you into $10 million. I'm going to be one of those guys. I know I will. I know I'm going to be one of those guys that hits that number soon, and gets really, and it's from this stuff. So if you have any questions, please give us a call, 832-942-1196. You can also hit us at our investing at rockstar-capital.com email. Send us a question, send us any concern. Let us help you. If you have any questions, please send them in. Get your questions answered. Feel good about this. Communicate with us if there's any hesitation. I look forward to visiting with you again. We'll follow up with another presentation in a couple of weeks on how the rent roll has probably gotten better and how they're continuing to take advantage of the cycle. And I'll give you another update on the deal after your due diligence has started. Thanks, everybody.